2002, I was working as a nanny on the Upper West Side in New York, when right here in this park, a woman approached me with a clipboard to tell me about domestic worker organizing. Little did I know that moment would change my life.
Every day the sun was out, I would come to the parks to sit down on a park bench and listen to the stories and experiences of nannies. The domestic workers who did this work of caring and cleaning did not have the respect or recognition that they deserved. So we started to organize. And usually when I would come to the park, I wasn't sure who was going to talk to me. But when I met Allison 20 years ago, she was ready from day one.
From that moment, we met with domestic workers monthly. We shared food and stories and strategized ways to get more domestic workers involved.
Yes, and what we heard over and over again was there's no respect, there's too much abuse, and what about our rights? And so we organized a convention and more than 200 domestic workers came, and we created a platform that became the New York Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, and we haven't stopped since.
NDWA was formed with over 13 local organizations coming together to build lasting power for domestic workers. After 6.5 years of relentless work, numerous bus rides to Albany, and the powerful organizing of domestic workers, here is where we won our first ever Domestic Worker Bill of Rights. This moment made me feel extremely proud and happy to be a part of this historic moment for domestic workers. After New York, the power that NDWA and its members had built made it possible for 12 more cities and states to get their own bills passed. It started here in New York, but this is now an incredibly powerful national movement. As the National Domestic Workers Alliance grew, we quickly learned that real and lasting change goes beyond legislative wins. Tech innovation was one of them. So we launched NDWA Labs, our innovation home, to harness the power of technology for equity and dignity. As technology companies continue to change the future of domestic work, we build our own solutions for domestic workers by domestic workers. NDWA Labs built ALIA, created to give workers benefits like paid time off, and NDWA Labs built La Alianza, the largest data set on domestic work, through chatbot conversations with a subscriber list of more than 230,000 Spanish-speaking domestic workers. And when the pandemic hit, NDWA raised more than $30 million for the Coronavirus Care Fund. Labs stepped up to distribute emergency funds to domestic workers across the country. NDWA Labs has advanced our mission and directly helped thousands of domestic workers. Since they are from many places across the globe, our next step was fighting for families to stay together. A majority of domestic workers are immigrants. Many of them are undocumented. Our immigration system was not designed to welcome people with dignity or provide them with viable options for citizenship. In 2010, when Arizona introduced an anti-immigrant law, we launched We Belong Together, a campaign to rally support behind a more humane system. In 2018, when Trump started separating families at the border, we transitioned the campaign to Families Belong Together, mobilizing hundreds of thousands of people in all 50 states to come out and defend families and children. The outcry forced the Trump administration to halt the family separation policy. Fighting to organize and win respect for all domestic workers is fundamental to our mission. And that is why we've created a space for Black domestic workers with We Dream in Black. We Dream in Black envisions a world in which the contributions of Black house cleaners, care providers, and nannies, past and present, are recognized and valued, and a world where Black domestic workers are safe, respected, and empowered to be their full selves, free from racial and gendered violence. Much of our work is working directly with domestic workers in their communities. But we know in order to have deep change, we need to change the way people think and feel about domestic work and the people who do it. We collaborated with storytellers and artists to reach into our hearts to include domestic workers as essentials and as protagonists. We've had the opportunity to work with incredible films and TV shows, partner with local artists to create beautiful murals, engage celebrities across the entertainment industry to amplify our message. We've started our own podcast, and we are training domestic workers to be leaders in narrative change through our Pop Culture Worker Council. As we grew in our power to tell a new story about our work, we realized that we had work to do as domestic workers to make sure our voices were heard at the ballot box. And that's why we formed our sister organization, Care in Action, in 2017. Over the past 5 years, NDWA and Care in Action canvassers knocked on thousands of doors and attempted over 12 million nonpartisan voter contacts to ensure that those who have been historically underrepresented in our democracy were able to make their voices heard. NDWA and Care in Action have succeeded in delivering real wins for the domestic worker movement while transforming power in elections. NDWA is magic. We're an organization with big dreams, and we're always planning for what comes next.
We are an alliance that has carefully strategized how to build. From political power to narrative change to tech and innovation, we've been ready to tackle any area where we can make a difference. We're working towards a multiracial democracy where care jobs are good jobs, where domestic workers are respected and protected, where we all have a voice in our economy and our democracy, and where we can all take care of the people we love.
These 15 years of incredible growth and wins have made us ready for the next 15 years. The future is us. Let's go.